Okay, this is the first video with the SURF4 and the larger pump, the Coralife SL-38. Very high, powerful pump. And so this is cleaning number 11 of the SURF4. The first 10 cleanings were the other video that had the smaller Fusion 700 pumps, 2 of those. And you'll see the difference here. This is one Coralife SL-38 high power pump, and which is putting out a tremendous amount of bubbles. I'll show you. So it's kind of like a soup or a volcano in there. Try to turn this so you can see it. It's important to keep it down to see the water level where it's actually operating at. So if you can get an idea of how much that is extra flow, I'll try a flashlight too. So if you can remember how much bubbles there were with the smaller pump, this is what we have now. So this is 10 days growth. 10 days, and it's the first growth period with the new larger pump. Let's see if I can get a close-up of the bubbles here. The bubbles going so much it's almost splattering up to the top of the shelf here. Let's see if I can move the camera. The trick is to get this thing down where it's in operating position. That's about how it sits when the lid's on right there. Right about there. So it's about 3 times the airflow of the smaller pumps that were on it last time. So that's the pump that's on it now, and that's the pump. 2 of these were on it before. So now it's just one of these. This one here is smaller than even just one of these, and it took 2 of these before. Anyway, the noise is, it puts out a lot of bubbles, but of course the SURF4 is designed to make it silent, so I'll put the lid on and you can hear the difference. Now it's going to settle into position, and it becomes almost silent. And the camera's about 1.5 feet away. So you can hear the pump. And by the way, the pump gets hot. This pump gets hot, and even the little metal manifold piece here gets really hot. Almost too hot to touch. Almost. So again, the sound as I lift this up with one hand. I'll get a little closer. It won't be visible, but I'll get closer so you can hear the sound difference. So now to cleaning. It's growing a lot more cladophora this time. Cladophora gets a stronger hold. Because the ulva lactuca and the ulva fasciata that it was growing last time probably would not hold as strong in this high velocity water flow. Okay. Alrighty. So this is 10 days growth. First day with the big pump. Forty-eight grams. I'm looking for pods to see if we can see any pods in here. No pods yet. Good, so I'm not going to do any fresh water yet. And that's all for the first cleaning with the new high power pump. 10 days growth of the SURF4. SURF4 12th cleaning, 10 days growth, and this is the second cleaning with the new high power Coralife SL-38 pump, which has a surprising effect in the tank where the fish can get to it, like this one, because it's bubbling so much that the circulation causes the growth to go back down and out the holes, out the drain holes, and so the fish are pulling it out the bottom. So I don't know how much they're pulling out and eating, but every time I look down it's sticking out the bottom holes, and I always catch them pulling it out there. So I would guess in a sump where there's no fish or snails or whatever that it would probably grow more. But let's take a look. I did find some pods after I cleaned last time, so I did end up putting some fresh water in. They were pretty big pods too, so I'm not sure how they're getting in so fast. I don't think they're growing that fast, but I did want to get rid of them. And this stuff is stuck pretty good. It's not fluffy, it's more stringy. Really hard to get it off. I would say that so far it's not growing more than the two smaller pumps. Maybe that's because it's feeding back around and going out the holes in the bottom. Or maybe in this last time I added fresh water to it. But it's definitely not more than the smaller pumps. It is a different kind of growth though. It's more stringy, a little more solid, not fluffy. It doesn't float up on top like the fluffier stuff does. The fluffier stuff is building up, and this is very attached. Anyway. Only 38 grams. Well, let's give this bigger pump a chance here and see what happens. SURF4, 13th cleaning, 9 days growth, and this is with the higher power pump. And I've caught the blue hippo tang many times underneath eating and pulling algae out. So this will simply be what's left over. Maybe you can see that. All pretty much stuck to the strings there. At least with the higher power pump, it sticks more to the strings because there's so much going on here that the weaker stuff lets go and gets pulled away by the fish. 39 grams. I think it's about the same exactly as last week. And what I'm going to do different now, I'm going to turn 2 of the pump outlets on lower and leave 2 of them on high to see if that makes a difference. Because on this pump you have the manifold here. This thing gets hot. Wow. So you have the manifold with 4 of them, so I'm going to adjust and I'm going to experiment. I already know the blue tang is eating from the bottom. I don't know how much he's pulling out. Sometimes there's like an inch or so sticking out the bottom. But by doing this, I'm going to experiment because when the bubbles are less, they'll stay floating on the top and they won't go down to the bottom holes, and then he won't be able to pull out the food. But I'm just going to experiment here. Alright, here we go. Alright, so now we've got these 2 on high and these 2 are on low. And so we'll see what kind of difference that makes, just for fun. SURF4 14th cleaning, 8 days growth. And this is the 4th cleaning with the new higher power pump that I turned down a little bit to see if half of it would make a difference. And there's the red hawkfish checking out stuff there, finding pods in the sand. I'll let him do his thing here. I was trying to get the powder blue tang in there, but of course the extra bright light here probably not going to allow that to happen. And alright, so let's go on over. If you can see, these were the 2 that I reduced the flow, and they're pretty much buried in growth. These 2 are still at full power flow. The idea was to see if maybe the extra air flow was causing current to go down and push the growth down through the holes in the bottom where the hippo tang was pulling growth out. He's always down there eating. So I don't know how much he's eating. He's getting some. So this is the high and this is the low flow. Let's just see if it made a difference here. And again, there it is. So it's fully attached to the strings, as you can see. You can also compare it to how quiet it was when the algae was in it to now when you pull it out. Of course, there's no algae to absorb the sound, which doesn't matter once you put the lid on anyway. The lid takes out all the sound. A lot of growth on the sides. When it really grows heavy, you'll get a lot of growth on the sides here too. Alright. $61 grams. So I'm not sure if reducing the flow made a big difference. I have this powder blue tang in there now that may have been scaring the hippo tang away from the eating it. I'm sure he's eating a lot, so but no way to tell without putting it into a separate sump, which I don't have right now. So there it is, cleaned out. Big pods running around. Yeah, I see a lot of pods in there. I'm gonna pour some fresh water in there. I'm going to try to kill the pods, and the pods will then wash out to the bottom and feed the fish, which they do anyway. The fish are always hanging out downstream of the scrubber. There's some really big ones. Maybe you can even see them. Really big ones in there. All right. So I'm gonna turn the pump all the way up on both. Now they're all the way up. Okay, so they're now equal. Let's see what happens next week. So tune in next week. SURF4 15th cleaning, and the 5th cleaning with the higher volume air pump, and I turned up all the outlets back up to full power because it didn't seem to make a difference by having two of them to lower power last cleaning. And so now they're just both full power, and I still think the hippo tang's eating a lot of growth out of the bottom. I wish I could do this in a sump that didn't have fish in there. It would be a better test, but this is fine. So this is the 15th cleaning. I haven't touched it since the last cleaning, so it's kind of filled up in here. I think the hippo tang is just eating less. It seems the less I see him here, the more growth there is. All right. $48 grams. Checking for pods. There's some. do a little fresh water here. Of course, I could take it to the sink and do a really good cleaning, but I'd rather keep the growth in here, and it's just easier to not have to take it out. So while that's doing its thing, and there we go. SURF4, 10 days growth, the 16th cleaning from new, and this is the 6th cleaning with the higher power pump, which I think I've proven to myself is causing the hippo tang to be eating a lot more algae out of the bottom. I can't test it on a sump without fish in it right now, so the fact that half the time when I walk over, the hippo tang runs away from underneath it, and he's always seems to be underneath one of the scrubbers someplace. So he's getting quite fat. So I'm sure he's getting his fill. So anyway, this is the best we can do, showing what has grown in the SURF4 after it's being eaten by the fish. Looks like we got our first bit of burning here on the top. Haven't had that before. Or maybe it's some food accumulation. I've been throwing some food in right in front of the scrubber, and some pellets and stuff, and they may have been pulled up into here and floated to the top. But it's definitely not growing any more than with the smaller air pumps. Although the flow looks kind of low now, so I'm gonna... Oh, that's right, I turned the flow down from last time. So I'll turn it back up here in a second. But overall, I'm not seeing any more growth. The higher airflow is simply circulating more of the growth back down to the bottom of the scrubber, going out the holes, and the fish are pulling it out the bottom. So, theoretically it should grow a lot more with more air bubbles, but not if it's being pushed out the bottom to be eaten by the fish. So, that's that. Yeah, and so I'm going to turn the flow back up here. Looks like 43 grams. Now I'm going to turn the flow back up to full power. And this one seems to be low right here. Let's see what's going on. We're going to check the outlets here. 1 second. After a while, you can get some carbonate buildup here, and anytime the airflow slows down, so you want to keep these clean. Paperclip works pretty good for this. If they really were to get clogged, you would take it to the sink and put some vinegar into the holes in the vinegar. Let the vinegar soak in and it will dissolve away the carbonate, the lime. Happens on fresh water too, you can get some buildup. See, this one seems low right here. Let's see what's going on with that. Pump seems fine. Turn these off and back on. Okay, maybe it's my imagination, but this one seemed a little bit lower, but they seem fine now. So they're on full power. Light just needs a little cleaning, of course. And the fish like to get the cleanings. You might remember this was a light that I messed up and I got glue on here, and so it's a little rough and the algae sticks to it a little bit more than it should, because this is not smooth like a new one would be. There we go. And off for another 10 days or so. SURF4 17th cleaning, which is the 7th cleaning with the new higher power pump, and this is 9 days growth, and this is still with the hungry hippo tang in the tank, being found out to be pulling algae out of the bottom of the SURF4. So here we go. 47 grams. All kinds of pods in here. All sorts of ones in there. Let's throw a little RO water on them. Some are pretty big. That's like ½ an inch right there. Wow. Wonder how long he's got to be in here to get ½ an inch long. That's amazing. Okay, you saw the last one, the last shoot kind of crashed with the, ran out of battery, but you didn't miss much. I was just cleaning the light and getting the pods out and putting it back. So here we are. This is SURF4, 18th cleaning, and 14 days growth, and I have not even looked at the scrubber at all. As you can see, it's looking a little dusty, so I have no idea what's going on inside. However, some of the other people who have bought the SURF4 and have been running it for a little while now are starting to show their growths are, some of them are twice as much as I'm getting here. And so that's probably proof, more or less, that the blue hippo tang and the other fish here are pulling the algae out of the bottom of this one. And the other people, they have theirs in their sump with no fish, and so they don't have the problem. But, you know, hey, algae growth, giving it fresh growth food to the fish, probably a good thing to do. Alright, so here we go with the 18th cleaning, and this is the 8th cleaning with the new high power pump. that's it, not that much. Only 38 grams, I think it is. Lots of visible pods, as to be expected, I guess. I have some water right here. Obviously, you could take the light to your sink and do all that, but if you have any cleanup crew at all, they'll probably chow down on this this algae here coming off the light. SURF4 19th cleaning, 9th cleaning with the higher power pump, and so this will be the next to the last because we're going to do a total of 20. And so far I think we've pretty much proven that at least if you have the higher power pump, which is supposed to always grow more algae, that if you have it in a sump with fish, it's not necessarily true, because as a reminder, the higher power bubbles stir up the algae more, which is great, but that also forces more water out the bottom, which the tangs come up and pull algae out the bottom. So at least if you have, if you're putting this into a fish pond like this, I'm sorry, a reef pond, and you have tangs and herbivores and whatnot, then maybe you don't need the higher power pump. Maybe the Fusion 700 pumps, which I'm probably going to go back to after this, because I need to have this filtering as much as possible. So this will be the 19th cleaning, and this is 11 days growth. You can see it's about as much as with the Fusion pumps, so I like the Fusion pumps better because they're cooler, quieter, they're adjustable, they take more space, but this is a pretty good harvest here. But still, I mean, for the extra heat of the higher power pump and the extra noise, which I can hear it from here, I would want a just absolutely packed with growth, and it's not getting it here. So who knows, if there were no tangs in here, what would happen? That's a different test for a different time. Alright, well, that's quick enough. 48 grams. 48. Check for pods. Not too bad, and since I put some fresh water last time, I'm not going to do it this time. We'll just wash it out. Just remember to clean off the light if it starts to get all covered with growth. Don't let it go and get covered like you saw the last two videos. I'm a big fan of no maintenance, and it still works, but it works better if you clean off the light. Alright, so we will come back next time for the last cleaning. SURF4 20th cleaning and the 10th cleaning with the high power pump. So this will be the last cleaning with the high power pump and the last cleaning of this series of total of 20 cleaning videos on this SURF4 here in the surf pond test tank. This is 12 days growth, and let's see how it is, although I already know. As I knock the lights and everything around. Okay, there we go. .38 grams. Looking for pods here, some pretty big pods there. There. Fresh water. That really stirs them up. Wow, pods go crazy when you put fresh water on them. I did clean the light one time a few days ago because it was really had a lot of growth on it, so I went ahead and scraped that off. Try to give as many pods to the fish as possible. Alright, so anyway, I think the conclusion is that with the high power air pump on a tank that has fish like this one, that you get a little bit better results with the lower power pump like the previous cleanings. And remember, the reason is that the higher power pump stirs up the growth so much that a lot of the growth gets long and goes out the holes, and then the tangs just pull it out. And especially like the last 2 or 3 days, the blue hippo tang was constantly underneath it, always trying to hide when I would come around. And I tried, never could film him doing it, but he was always there, and and he would chase the yellow tangs away because he wanted all the food for himself. So I always wondered how he gets so fat, because I don't feed him that much really. So anyway, it is unknown yet what would happen if there were no fish and if it were just a sump. But the conclusion, at least with this tank, with 10 cleanings, well, with a lower power pump before, and now 10 cleanings with the higher power pump, that when you have fish and you're using a SURF4 like this, that in salt water, this time anyway, you get more growth and you would think more filtering with the 2 lower power pumps instead of the 1 higher power pump. So I'm going to switch back to the lower power pumps for this, mainly because they're quieter and they put off less heat. You don't feel the heat when you walk by it like you do with the bigger pump, but mostly because it's more quiet and it will grow more. Now you could say that you want to put it onto a place that has fish and you do want to feed the fish. So in that case, maybe you want the higher airflow, and so you don't mind losing some of your filtering and harvesting less because you want to feed them, and that's great. So of course you can also just take some out and throw it in, which I've done on a couple of the videos. I don't know if you can see right now, but all the little pieces and a lot of stuff that I poured in is now circulating around. That'll do that for about an hour or so. Fish go crazy and stuff, go after that. And there were some pods that went in there too, but of course they went right to down to the bottom. So the conclusion is that probably for most people, 2 of the Fusion 700 air pumps is better than the big Coralife SL-38 pump in general. So that's it. I hope you liked the testing.